One of my fascinations lately, it's the insistence by Umkhonto Wesizwe Party that black unity should be the way to go when it comes to navigating the South African political landscape. I say it's fascinating because it seems MK Party doesn't understand what black unity looks like. Even if black unity hit them on the eye, they wouldn't know what black unity looks like. Because we need to really draw a parallel or to be able to differentiate between black unity and convergence of black political parties. Because I think largely what MK Party is talking about is the convergence of black political parties, whereby all the parties that identify as being on the left come together and form this one giant behemoth party that is going to confront what is being perceived to be white monopoly capital and the concept of a resurgent ultra-white nationalism in South Africa. But I think that approach from MK Party, a party that is being led by people who've been in the liberation struggle for the longest time, and some people who are really educated enough, I'm talking about people like Floyd Chibambu and others who need to understand how politics work. It's so naive, it's so disappointing. Disappointing because, one, I don't think EFF, MK Party, IFP, PA, what remains of COPE, ANC, and all these other small black, and all these other black political parties need to come together to form one party as a way of pushing back against what the MK Party calls white monopoly capital or the white agenda. What needs to happen is we need more black political parties that are not together, as in not belonging to one under one umbrella, but they need to have a common thought. Black unity of political parties should not mean the coming together of black political parties, but it needs to mean political parties agreeing on one principle, on what they want South Africa to look like now, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. They need to share a vision for South Africa. So if the vision is one, there can be 100 political parties. All of them are going to fight towards achieving that vision. And that's what South Africa needs. It doesn't need one big black party, as MK Party is doing. You look at MK Party, they seem to be obsessed with swallowing up everyone. Let's swallow up EFF. Let's swallow up all these other small parties. Let us build a behemoth of a political party. Because the problem with building a huge political party, a behemoth of a political party, it means if you want to destroy it, just drop one bomb and the whole party just disintegrates into many pieces. The bigger the party becomes, the more factional it becomes. And when there are factions, it becomes easy to manipulate. Because the whole concept of divide and rule is a concept that speaks to dividing something that is big. And you can only be able to manage something if you divide into 2 or 3 parts. But if something is so scattered, if the vision is so scattered, held up by different political parties, different formations that agree on what they want to achieve, but maybe differ on how they want it achieved, now that gives a strength to all the black agenda, as they call it, or actually that gives more resonance to the black voice. I'll use a very simple example. Under apartheid, from 1948, let's start at 1948 up until 1993, white political parties all agreed that apartheid was the policy to be, that black people need to be kept in their place. They need to stay in Bantustans and homelands. Black people need to be denied opportunities. They need to be told where to live, where not to live, which beaches to swim, which beaches not to swim, who to marry, who not to marry, who to sleep with, who not to sleep with. All white parties believed that. That's why they were partaking in the apartheid elections that were happening since 1948 up until 1989, when the National Party finally decided that the center was no longer holding. They all agreed on apartheid. They all agreed on many things, on the denying black people their rights. But you'll be surprised to learn that from 1948 up until 1994, there were white opposition parties within that parliament. Before even the tricameral parliament, but within the white parliament, there were opposition parties. The Conservative Party was one of those. Herstache Nationale Party was one of those. Progressive Federal Party was one of those, which were white liberals in a way. It was one of those. But what they agreed on, all of them, they might have opposed how things need to be done. They might have opposed whether South Africa need to be a nuclear power. They might have opposed whether South Africa need to go deep into Angola during the war there, fighting against the freedom fighters of SWAPO. They might have opposed whether South Africa had to negotiate peace. Like 1992, when de Klerk finally decided he wanted to negotiate, he had to go on a referendum, so that a whites-only referendum, so that the constituents or white people could tell him whether they want negotiations or not. They might have differed on many things. That didn't make them Democrats. They were not Democrats because the vision was one. They all agreed on one vision. They all agreed on apartheid being the policy to be. Now, I'm using this example because when MK Party talks about swallowing EFF, swallowing this and that, it means nothing. What is needed, you need more opposition parties. You need parties that are going to tell the ANC, no, this is not how you go about the National Democratic Revolution. That will tell the MK Party, no, but it's not how you go about achieving what you want to achieve. But those parties need to have a same vision. They need to know, at the end of the day, MK Party is driving government, but what we want to achieve as a black voice is this. Another example I'm going to give will be in Israel. For example, all political parties in Israel, Likud, Israel, Betinu, National Religious Party, the Zionist Party, all of them, the Labour Party, Kadima, they agree on one thing. They all want to keep Palestinians under perpetual oppression. They want them occupied. They want to deny them rights. They all believe in Zionism, which is the idea of, is a colonial mentality of saying we want to own things to ourselves, want to deny other people their rights. They believe in Zionism. They all believe that Palestinians need to remain to be perpetually occupied. But you'll be surprised that there are actual opposition parties. They call themselves opposition parties. Naftali Bennett calls this party opposition party. Avigdor Lieberman says that is opposition party. Everyone else will tell you that they've got opposition parties, but what they have in common is that they all believe in Zionism. They all believe in what they call Israel's right to exist. They all believe in the occupation of Palestinians, denial of their right. They all believe in apartheid. But they are. Why don't they come together? Why don't Likud, Kadima, Labour, Zionism, National Zionism, and all, why don't they come together and say, let's create one government because we all believe in Zionism? Because the plurality of voices allows for them to become innovative. It allows for those that are in government to think, now we need to do something in a way that is going to lead, that's going to guide the nation, that's going to guide the nation towards the destination. So I hope all MK people, all MK members, they just need to sit down. There are smart people there, the Andile Mkhitam and others who come from a BCM school of thought. They need to sit down and be able to say, look, we might believe in one vision, or we need to come together with the ANC, with the PA, with all the black parties. We need to come under one roof and say, what is it that we want South Africa to look like? What kind of South Africa do we want to see? Now, once they've agreed on that and they can have a consensus, now they can go and be opposing party, they can oppose each other left and right, because it will be one party differing with the other on the modus operandi on how to achieve that, rather than differing on what they want to achieve. Because at this point in time, nobody knows what MK Party wants, what EFF wants, what ANC wants. Nobody knows. There is no collective one black voice, but there's no collective black vision, but white people know exactly what they want. They want to get back into power. They want to bring back the apartheid system whereby black economic empowerment doesn't work, economic redress, doesn't work either way, whereby economic redress is not there, whereby affirmative action is not there, there's no redress in the space, whereby the status quo of pre-94 exists. They know that. They might call themselves opposing parties, but they know the vision is the same. So what black parties need is to have one vision and not become one party. South Africa needs more and more black political parties, more and more voices, but knowing that at the end of the day is the vision that all of them want to achieve, which will be a South Africa that they dream of. I don't know what South Africa they dream of, but they need to be very clear what kind of South Africa they need. Like this page, subscribe to this page. It's called ASAP, A South African Perspective. Let's grow the numbers, make the sector bigger.